What are you talking about? But yes, I am glad to see that it's still 10 rubles. At least the inflation in Russia has not hit the fucking price of unlocking a shopping cart in Ashan.
Okay, this is the grocery cart escalator. This is designed, I'm figuring this out now, where the wheels don't move, they lock on the grocery cart escalator. Look, Ma, no hands.
What is this, Borat? Like, what is happening? What is this? It's an American who came to Russia who's like marveled at like the most basic things and basic technologies that pretty much everybody's used to at this point. Like, what is this? It's amazing. We need more of Tucker just walking around in Russia, man. This is great. Just the dumbest person ever. The most clueless American fucking happy-go-lucky guy in an environment that he does not understand. Best comedy show idea I've ever seen.
Retail placement here is a little bit different. So it's like walking through Macy's to get to Whole Foods. Okay, we've gotten through the perfume section to get to the grocery store. So we're gonna try and buy what a family of 4 would buy every week, and we're gonna see what the selection is, and we're gonna see what it costs.
So yes, he's actually going into Ashan, or Oshan, which is actually a chain of supermarkets you might recognize if you live in Europe. I'm not sure if they have locations in the US, but Oshan is originally a French company, and they have had stores in Russia for a very, very long time now, for probably over 10, 15 years at this point. And yes, they do still continue their business in Russia, which is very interesting. Okay.
Russia is famous for its bread, which is one thing I can assess pretty well. The low-carb lifestyle has not swept Russia. Thank heaven, because I mean, look at that. It's fresh, too. Look at that. Oh, come on.
What is this? I mean, look, I don't want to sound like a condescending asshole right now because I do realize there's a lot of places in the world that do have an issue with food shortage, right? And famine, etc. But like, come on, dude. We're comparing to the United States here, right? I guess. Like, what is this? Why is my guy so, like... Why is he, like, busting in his pants over, like, some bread? It's bread, bro. Every country has bread. In any country you go to supermarkets, you will find fresh bread. But I guess they only have fresh bread in Russia. The American people can't even make bread anymore. Truly the worst time in American history. But yeah, I don't understand this one at all, like... I was in Portugal just recently, and if you go into like any Ashan as well, my Ashan on the corner in a store, you will get like freshly baked pastries and bread in the morning there. This more than anything I think just shows like Tucker's racism. Because even though Tucker is like glazing Russia and glazing the Russian government and Putin as hard as possible here, right? It's like, why are you so amazed that bread existed in Russia? So I guess you do have like a certain stereotypical image of Russia being a country of like, you know, poor, starving peasants as well, right? They can all barely afford bread there. Like, he's thinking Russia is North Korea, so this is why he's so excited at Russia having bread in stores. Like, that's my only understanding of this, guys.
Unicorn and mini mills. All right. Some kind of Russian wheat cookies.
I'm sorry, he just looks like a child in the shop, like a kid shopping with his mom who's just so lost and who doesn't know what to get next. I saw a lot of people online clowning Tucker for this clip here, saying that he essentially looks like he's never shopped for groceries in his life before. And I think that's actually the case because, like, Tucker Carlson was born with a silver spoon up his ass or whatever. He grew up rich, so he probably never actually shopped for himself and pushed the fucking shopping cart, clearly, around the grocery store because this is, like, amazing to him. But guys, honestly, I relate. I don't want to clown on my man too much. I have ADHD. I also have the eating habits of like a teenager still at 26 years old. Eating a full bag of potato chips is a meal type shit. So when I'm in a grocery store, I kind of feel the same, especially if I'm high. So honestly, I can relate to Tucker. If I was in a Russian grocery store right now, that would be a trap.
Ooh, we need coffee, don't we? Yeah. I don't know if this is sugar or flour, to be honest with you, but
Cocaina.
it looks like a staple, so we should get it. It's a very good-looking package. It's got to be flour, right?
Yeah, he did the fucking Breaking Bad fucking Tsuko Salamanca. Scarface, you know, hilarious.
And this is Russian wine. It's from Crimea, which not only has the warm water naval base, but also is the source of most of the grapes in this part of Russia for wine. So it's apparently pretty good.
Of course, Tucker, yes, American journalist, let's promote Crimea being Russia. It's a good look, but also Georgian wine clears, in my opinion. This is the funniest shit, I swear to God. He's standing next to каждый день. It basically means every day. It's like Auchan's sort of affordable, great value sort of product line that they sell in their stores in Russia. So usually it's the cheapest shit that you can get, and they make all sorts of stuff under this brand. And a lot of it ranges from pretty edible to basically being done.
Am 29. Februar erscheint endlich die mit Spannung erwartete Fortsetzung zu Final Fantasy VII Remake, exklusiv
Pretty edible to basically being dog food, and it's a huge meme in Russia. So seeing him standing next to this каждый день, yeah, I mean, just our boy Tucker, just our fellow Russian scoof. Just shopping for some каждый день. I mean, yeah, who hasn't been in this situation, really? This could be any of you guys. It could be me. So relatable.
Check out of a grocery store and you've got gum, razor blades, and candy. Actually, they hide the razor blades because we steal them.
Why they hide the razor blades, Tucker? The homeless probably about to steal it, right? That's why they do this. Not sure if that's like a compliment or an insult to Russia at this point.
Mars, Twix, Snickers, Milky Way, Bounty, Gillette, Paul's Cough Drops, Mentos. It's pretty non-sanctioned to me, but what do I know?
Yes, once again, this is something that people really confuse, I feel like. Sanctions put on Russia and just Western companies leaving Russia and refusing to sell their stuff in Russia is not exactly the same thing. These get confused a lot. And actually, a lot of Western companies stayed in Russia and are continuing to sell their stuff, or a lot of Western companies just sell their stuff to Russia through other countries like Kazakhstan, etc. So this is how Western products end up in Russia today, and this is why you still have a ton of them. Again, the logic of like, you have Snickers and Mars and Milky Way in a store here clearly means that sanctions have had zero effects. Yes, I've seen this position on the internet a lot, and you guys are dumb as shit.
I went from amused to legitimately angry.
There we go.
So we were guessing what this would cost. Everybody hears from the United States buys groceries, and we didn't pay any attention to costs as we were just putting in the cart what we would actually eat over a week. And we all came in around $400, about $400. It was $104 US here. And that's when you start to realize that ideology maybe doesn't matter as much as you thought. Corruption. If you take people's standard of living and you tank it through filth and crime and inflation, and they literally can't buy the groceries they want, at that point, maybe it matters less what you say or whether you're a good person or a bad person. You're wrecking people's lives in their country, and that's what our leaders have done to us.
Oh dear God. So yes, this is the moment everybody's talking about. He's so dumb. The minimum wage in the United States is well over $1,000. The minimum wage in Russia is like $300 or something like that. Yes, guys, there's like quite a bit of a difference between salaries and wages in America and Russia, so perhaps this is the reason why groceries cost so much cheaper compared to the United States. I mean, has Tucker ever been to a foreign country before? Has Tucker ever, went to pay for something in a foreign country and went, interesting, that's kind of cheap, I wonder why? Like, what the fuck? How is this man taken seriously by anybody? You also need to understand, right, and I've been saying this for years, that yes, stuff like groceries and foods is definitely cheaper in Russia compared to the West, right? It is cheaper, but it's still fucking expensive compared to the average salary, and also, many things in Russia that Russians need are actually more expensive than in the West. For example, tech products. So this would be basically anything. From fridges or appliances, anything you would need in your house, to like smartphones, computers, etc. Most of these usually come from the West, and it's actually more expensive to buy this stuff in Russia than it is to buy it in America. So for example, iPhones in Russia are way more expensive than they are in the US, but yet Russians still have a shitty salary. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, Russians can't afford anything, and the proportion to which they can't afford things is way worse than what you have in America, right? Under Joe Brandon. Bidenomics, right? And how does anybody take this seriously? He's literally talking about, like, the United States government destroying the people's lives through crime and filth and lies, and making the people poorer and making, people unable to afford things. Look, I'm not saying that the inflation in America is not a real problem. Inflation is a problem everywhere around the world. I'm just saying that this kind of journalism where you're basically portraying America as like a terrible country where everybody's, getting poorer and can't, survive. And Russia at the same time, look, is like a country where groceries and the level of life is actually pretty high. I'm not gonna give any context on the political situation and the situation with free speech in Russia. Look guys, we bought groceries for $100 worth. Insane. Russia best country to move to and live in? Question mark, guys? I mean, yeah. We would love it if you moved to Russia, Tucker. But I don't think you would like to, especially considering what happens to people who oppose Russia, like Alexei Navalny, for example, right?
And coming to a Russian grocery store, the heart of evil, and seeing what things cost and how people live, it will radicalize you against our leaders. That's how I feel anyway, radicalized. We're not making any of this up, by the way, at all.
Yes, fellas, this is truly one of the Tucker Carlson moments of all time. He definitely made a video, and there were definitely words in it. But I just love the fact how you can put any of these, propaganda pundits in any real-world situation and you can immediately see how disconnected they are from the average person. Not only due to the fact that Tucker basically looks like he's never been in a grocery store before, but also due to the fact that Tucker, once again, either doesn't know or pretends to, have no idea about the fact that Russians make a lot less money compared to Americans. So when you make just a few $100s a month, getting your groceries for $100 is actually fucking a lot. Believe it or not. I just cannot believe that he says this with a straight face. And to me, as a Russian, it's honestly insulting because, once again, a ton of people in the provinces in Russia are barely, scraping by. And I'm gonna say it, Russian grocery stores now suck compared to stores in the West, because in 2014, after the European Union sanctioned Russia following the annexation of Crimea, what Russia did is implementing certain counter-sanctions, which basically banned the import of foods from Europe. So this would be all the good stuff, all the nice meats and cheeses and everything from, Italy and everything, the good stuff. Mamma mia. And when you go to a Russian store now, it's kinda dire. Yes, you have Western products and everything, but when it comes to actual really good quality products and actually really well made cheese and meat, yes, it exists, but also I do really feel like the diversity of products in Russia could be better, and it used to be better. So recently, once again, I was in Europe and I was walking around, grocery stores there. I was like, damn, this is fucking sick. Because I was just looking at all the different types of cheese and meats they have and everything. I was like, yes, this is heaven on earth. Europeans basically live in abundance. I don't want to go back to a grocery store in Chelyabinsk ever again after seeing this. You know what I'm saying? So, if we really want to get down to the bottom of it and talk about, which place is better for grocery shopping, I would rather do grocery shopping in Europe because there's just so much variety of shit that I can buy, and that is something that nobody ever talks about, and that is also the effect of sanctions, right? But also, once again, this entire rhetoric of, look, they have food in Russian stores, and Russians are actually not starving like they did in the 90s. Clearly sanctions are not working, and clearly, the West has fallen, and we're not doing, shit. Look, Russia is a huge country with a ton of natural resources and a ton of farmland, etc. It's a country that can sustain itself. I don't know why, in the first place, it's so surprising to a lot of Westerners to see the fact that Russia has bread and meat in stores and shit. Because once again, this just shows us how out of touch truly a lot of Westerners are with Russia. And then, when they see a video of a store full of food in Russia, they're like, Jesus Christ, guys, look, sanctions are not working. And actually, guys, yes, Putin is the greatest leader, and I wish we had a leader like him in America. Now, he would not allow the country to be, in a terrible situation with the homeless and the inflation, which is, by the way, both issues that definitely do not exist in Russia. So yeah, guys, what can I say? Yet another embarrassing example of Western conservatives simping for Russia and Vladimir Putin. This is basically a staple at this point, a classic. I've been talking about this for years. This is truly a content well that will never dry out, because it seems like there will always be a never-mounting amounts of boomers in America who just found out Russia and Putin exist 2 weeks ago, who don't know a single thing about Putin and who are saying basically that Russia is the greatest country that is actually doing so much better than the West. Yes, I love those people. To conclude this video, all I have to say is, book your tickets to move to Russia right now, guys. $100 for groceries. Surely this is a great thing to give up your freedom for. But on a serious note, guys, I hope you did enjoy today's video. If you guys did, then please make sure to slap the like on it. And as well, guys, as always, if you would like to support me additionally, and that is financially, then go over to the link down in the description and become a YouTube member. It's basically like YouTube's own version of Patreon. It's the best way to support me. It's like a monthly donation type of thing, which also gives you special perks. Or if you want to do a one-time donation, you can use super thanks underneath this video. That being said, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.
It's odd how, in an instant, things can transform.